Hey guys, welcome to the live. This is attorney Kendra Steven, and I
And
am joined by the one and only Danie Spice. Hey Danie, how are you?
hey, girl, hey, I'm excited to jump into this conversation today. Happy Tuesday. Good morning, good evening, and good night from wherever you're watching in the world.
I love that you hit all of the welcomes. All right, so today we're continuing our conversation on the hidden costs of operating or building without vision. And Danie, I know last time we didn't get really into it, but we're going to get into it, right? We're going to
Yes.
get into it because I think when we think about the vision for the business, I think people they just think about that little thing they write on the vision boards or the thing they put in the business plan. They don't really understand means to have a vision as a CEO, right?
hmm hmm
You want to touch upon that a little bit more before we get into?
And to the nitty gritty, absolutely. So we have our passion and then we have our vision, right?
Mhm.
And those two things exist as a successful CEO, a successful founder. But one thing is that I often see founders confuse passion with vision. So when I say, hey,
Mm.
what is the vision for your company? And they say, well, our vision is we're really passionate about people. I'll use Beloved Global as an example, right? We're really passionate about how people feel. We're
Uh-huh.
really passionate about, fragrance. We're really passionate about luxurious experiences.
Yeah.
We're yes, of course, but that's not your vision. Our vision in one succinct, clear line is we're on a mission to give the world a hug using scent, right?
Ooh.
That is a global mission. It's
Yeah.
clear on who, what, when, where, and why.
I love
What about
that.
yourself?
First of all, I don't think you love it. You're obsessed with it. Okay, you're being
Absolutely.
cute. You're obsessed with it. Obsessed, obsessed. And for me, when I think about vision, right? So I have 4 children. I still can't believe that sometimes. And for me, as the mom, I feel I almost look at myself as the founder for these 4 individual companies. They all
Mhm,
have
mhm,
individual needs, they all have individual agendas, they all got individual obsessions and desires. But I have to have that vision as the
mhm, mhm,
mother that's guiding all of these 4 different companies on 4 different missions. They operate totally different. And I think if
mhm,
you, as a CEO, think about that, how important that vision is, because when you are bringing people into the company, right? And we're talking about not you hustling, we're talking legitimately, hey, even if you're a solo right now, one day you're going to be in this position. So don't tune out because you're in the solo space. Like, definitely
mhm,
tune in, right? Because
mhm.
that's where you want to go. But even now, as the single side hustle, only person working in a business wearing all the hats, you still need a vision of where this
Yes.
thing is going to go,
Mhm.
right?
Absolutely. Yes. And when oftentimes, so our most recent corporate client was Kaiser Permanente. We'll be sharing that win very shortly. But when people see my experience as a coach, when they see my experience as a fragrance house, they're like, how do you get the NBA and USAA Bank to buy into what it is that you're doing? How do you get Kendra, how do you get both, these high-end celebrities, the who's who
Yeah.
in the celebrity world? I don't know if NDAs mean you can't drop your clients' names, right? But also, you also get the day-to-day entrepreneur who has something that they're passionate about. And the reason why we're able to do that is because we have a very clear vision. People aren't necessarily buying into what it is that you're doing. They're buying into why, how, where, and when you're doing it.
Hmm.
So when you can articulate your vision as a business owner, listen, this is where we are now,
Yeah.
but that's not important. Where we are now is not the only thing. It's where we're going. Where we're going a year from now, 6 months from now, 3 years from now, 5 years from now, 100 years from now. This is how we're going to exist in the landscape, right? And so oftentimes people will be, how do I get Meta as a client? Well, when you're small and you don't have all of these grandiose things to do, what you do have, what everyone has, whether you're a solopreneur,
Mhm.
whether you're a Fortune 100 company, everyone can have vision, and vision requires strategy, it requires intention, and it requires diligence and discipline. That's why we're here.
You didn't have to come in so hot, Danie.
We
You,
got
you
15
didn't.
minutes.
So Danie said, "Don't play with me today."
Don't play with it,
It's
don't
a
play with it, don't play with it, don't
Tuesday.
play with
Don't
it.
play with it. Don't play with it. Don't play with it. So, can I ask you this then? Like, from
Mhm.
a relational standpoint, how does like lack of a long term vision affect the way a CEO connects with their team, clients, or investors? Like, how does it affect all the things?
So I'm going to take it out of the boardroom and
Okay.
bring it into real life, right? How does someone that you're dating not having a vision for their life affect how attracted you are? Now, in the beginning, when we're
Ooh,
young, when we're teenagers, when we're in our early 20s, those things, we dream that you don't have to have a vision. We're here for the fun, we're here for a good time. But once we start getting serious, once we start thinking about our future, once we start thinking about stability, once we start thinking about where I'm going to put what matters most, having a vision is important. I'm not going to date anyone. I'm not going to start a relationship with anyone who doesn't know where they're going. They're just dust in the wind, right? So, as a CEO, as a solopreneur, as a founder, as a creative, knowing where you're going, knowing what the vision is for your life, it helps people to buy in, because the biggest thing, and oftentimes we see these big influencers or other people getting opportunities, and it's like, well, what makes them different than me? Their
mhm.
ability to articulate their vision. Vision don't cost you anything. Being able to sit down and say, we're on a mission to give the world a hug, it lets another brand say, you know what, we want to be on that. We want to give the world a hug right along with you, and we're ready to do our part. What about you, Kendra? What are your thoughts on that? In terms of the architectural component, the building component, the
Yeah.
fundamentals component. Why is having a vision so important? And how does it help your clients down the line when it's time for those $1 million deals?
Oh, billion-dollar deals at this point. I think what
Yes.
I'm looking at is when the founder is lacking vision, right? It's almost like you're building a skyscraper without the blueprints, right? You're actually no, you're with the blueprints for like a shack, right?
Mm,
You're pouring concrete, which is their hustle, into a foundation that physically cannot support the scale they say they want. So
mhm,
that isn't growth, right? That is like setting yourself up for a future demolition project at that point.
mhm.
So for me, right, as the vision isn't a destination. I think that's the other thing, right? And that's same thing I use for the kids. It's a decision making filter. So when I talk to my daughter, I'm like, "Hey, are you doing your SAT prep?"
Mhm,
It's because you told me your vision is, Mom, I want to practice at a law firm, a big law firm, not a little one, right? I want to go to one of the top law firms. I want to go to a top law school. And
mhm,
so every decision you're making needs to be filtered through that, right?
mhm.
Without it, you aren't just lost, right? You are just making decisions that don't align. Right. So you have to, every decision you make has to build upon the last one. All right. And so organizations honestly are designed to be stable.
Yeah.
Once you build a system, a team, a product line, a market line, it honestly is designed to be stable. So in a way, it resists change. That's
Mhm.
that's us. We resist change. We don't want it. And if you're built fast without a vision, you are building an infrastructure in the wrong direction.
I love that.
So the cost to tear it down and pivot later is 10 times the cost of building it
Ooh.
the right way from the first time.
Are you able to share, or do you have any thoughts of when you have either worked with a founder, yourself as a founder, had to pay that cost, the architectural flaw of building? We all want to go viral. We
Yes.
all want to have that moment where someone sees us, picks us up, and that supernatural strength, right? When has it been costly?
When you can't sign that contract to get your products in the store because the brand name you selected and you put on all your products is infringing on not just a little brand but P&G, okay? When Target got or Walmart or whatever, I'm not gonna list the exact name, turns you away, big box retailer turns you away because you don't have a trademark and you can't get one. Because when you file the application, how about this? Here's the worst part. When you file the application yourself, the USPTO denied it, but you said, I'm gonna still continue on building the foundation in the wrong direction. You get the deal, you get the order, and you cannot deliver because they ask you for your trademark certificate, and baby, you
It's nowhere
can't
to
you
be
can't
found.
yes, but it can't be found. You cannot get it because your brand is infringing on a big brand. So you built it because you're obsessed with speed, right? There's flaws in the architecture.
Mhm.
The brand name, like a lot of people don't realize how important the brand name is. The brand name is everything. It is the foundation of the business. People think it's the business before the brand. It's the brand before the business when you think about it, because it goes on everything. So
Mhm.
now you have to go back and get new products, new LLCs, new everything changes. And so this is the importance of when you are obsessed with speed and you go with speed in the wrong direction, it's just you going a faster way to crash. Okay.
Mm.
You're going to a faster way where we're going to have to start all over again. And so I see a
Mhm.
lot of people do that. That's just on the trademark end. I mean, there are other ways that that happens, but when they consider, and I think, when we have this conversation, when I talk to people about the cost of brand protection, they halt, but they have absolutely no issues paying $20,000 to build a website. You invested
Mhm.
$20,000 in a website that's going to lead you to $100,000 lawsuit.
Mhm.
Make it make sense.
Mhm. Amen. Amen. I've been there, done that, got a t-shirt. My trademark worked out for me, but that's not everyone's story, right?
Yeah.
It could have easily been, and thank God I knew a Kendra. I may have done things janky in the beginning, but by doing certain things, we're talking about these things because by doing those things, all of the stress and the pressure and the 7 years waiting for my trademark could have been mitigated, right? But then also, I'm stubborn, and Kendra knows that, but we don't want you to be stubborn. She almost told my story verbatim of what almost happened to me, right? So here's the thing, and this is a real conversation for anyone who's building, anyone who is on a mission, anyone who sees their business, their goals bigger than what it is, right? When you're obsessed with speed, getting there fast, getting there fast, getting there fast, my question for you is how much of you are making this decision? How much is your business making this decision? And how much of your ego is making this decision? We always try to decompartmentalize our business from who we are, but how who we are shows up in our business. So my question for you, Kendra, is can a brand truly evolve if the CEO, if the founder hasn't done the inner work to clarify their personal vision, their personal why, their personal can the brand evolve? Can the brand grow?
So I'm not even going to give an answer based upon my thoughts. I already know what it is. I want to back it up with some science, because I want you guys to understand this isn't just Kendra talking. Kendra, because I've been behind the scenes. This is a theory. It's been proven. It proves that an organization, a business, is a direct reflection of the CEO's cognitive base and values. Your business is going to reflect you, right? So the business cannot outperform the founder's own clarity.
One more time for the people in the back, and we're going to say this slowly so that
Okay.
it can marinate and it can really permeate your mind. Your business cannot, will not outperform you
Mm-hmm.
in the short term and in the long term.
Yeah.
Your business cannot and will not. When you see people having amazing opportunities, right? And then it's like they just burn out, it's like the business just goes away.
Mm-hmm.
That business outperformed the founder, the CEO, and then it couldn't sustain. And then
at
you
all.
also see businesses slow and steady. Every year they're doing well. First there was this client, now they done got to
Yeah.
okay. That is an intentional founder and CEO who's realizing that as long as I am making ego-based decisions, nobody wins.
Can
Once
we?
I start
Ooh.
making decisions from a
Mm-hmm.
place where I'm listening to the business, I'm listening to my therapist, I'm listening to Danie and Kendra, I'm being strategic, I'm being consistent, everyone wins.
That part. That part. Or I do want to add one more. A lot of times it's fueled by their why, right? And the why is usually I want to make this much money, right? It's purely financial. And you
Mhm.
mentioned like the burnout. So you will burn out because money is not a fuel source potent enough to survive the pressure of scaling to 10 million, 1 billion. You need a vision that is bigger than your bank account to survive the valley of death in business. Let me just repeat that. You need a vision that is bigger than your bank account to survive the valley of death in business. Y'all in the back. Let me just say it one more time. Your
Yes.
vision too small. You need a vision that is bigger than your bank account to survive the valley of death in business.
Mm. And so now we've given all the insight. You need a vision, you need a vision, you need a vision. I don't believe in ever showing up without providing practical tools, right? It seems
Yeah.
simple, it seems small, but the truth of the matter is I'm never going to show up anywhere and tell you what you need to do without how you need to do it. That's how I bring
Hmm.
value to the world, right? That's my form of tithing. So my question for every founder here is what exactly are you building? When you think of why you want to build it, what are you building?
Yeah.
Is the thing that you are building reflective of the vision that you have of yourself 5 years from now? When you
Mm.
think of the perfect day in business, the perfect day in life, and you're a founder, what you're building today, what is on that paper today, right now, is it congruent? Is it the same as what you see for yourself 5 years from now? If
Mm.
there is anything that is not equal, that is where we need to start, because sometimes it's not even your ability to dream or your ability to see what you're putting on paper and what you're putting on words isn't actually the vision. What is one thing
Mm.
that you would give, one tool, one piece of some resource, Kendra, that you would give for the founder who is looking to become more clear and succinct with their vision?
Oh, that's a good one.
Mhm.
I would say make sure it's in alignment with self, right? You don't want, how many like CEOs we've seen that are very successful, but they're miserable because there wasn't an alignment with themselves and the business, right? And so instead of building a legacy, they built a cage. You don't want to build a cage. You want to build a legacy. So when I think about anything that I do, I think about not my kids, not my grandkids. I'm thinking my great great grandkids. Like, how
Mhm.
is this going to outlive me so that
Mm.
they can benefit from what I've done? So I'm not working for my daughter, my son. I'm not working for these people. Don't let them fool you. I'm working for generations to come. And when I think about it that way, it changes my decision making. Right.
Mm.
And so you have to do that. So you have to architect the inner vision before you can lead anyone, before you can have any expansion. You need to architect that.
Mhm.
Right. And so what is your inner vision? Because every decision is going to going to align up with that. And so that's where I would start. For me, giving any advice is like, what do you want to see what is your legacy you're going to leave,
Absolutely.
right?
I'll give a quick story time of myself and vision. When we started Beloved Box in 2016, it was divinely inspired. I started with scrubs and a massage. It was actually really a massage oil candle. And then that began to grow. I did not realize the full vision of us being a fragrance house until much later. And oftentimes, the mission was always give a world a hug using scent.
Mm-hmm.
But because we were so clear on this is the vision, sitting down one day, it was like, you're a fragrance house because that's what fragrance houses do. They create scent,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so as you expand, as you grow, as you experience, as you touch and you taste and you feel, your vision will also expand. And it's supposed to
Yeah.
do that. It's okay if you
Ooh.
don't have all the right answers, but what's not okay is not seeking them, right? From the very beginning.
Mm.
Listen, Kendra, I gotta go. I know you gotta go too. This was awesome. This was a nice little snack, a little quick something to
Well,
nosh on. We'll be back
yes.
next week, Tuesday at the same time.
Yes, if you're listening to this and realize you have the hustle, but you've lost the blueprint, you've lost your vision, and you feel the friction in yourself, your team, your business, and you want more, come back next week. Okay. At some point, we're going to be dropping more information about our 5-day mentorship, and you'll have the opportunity for that. But before we jump to
Yeah.
that, we want to make sure you get this. Okay. So come back next week for part 3. Different topic, but we gonna be helping you get to where you need to go. Danie, hop on. I understand. You have a good one, guys.
Bye.
Come back next week. Bye bye.